Next up, we have our first DeFi panel of the day. It's titled DeFi Eats the World, the project's bringing DeFi to global users. As we all know, DeFi has been a global phenomenon that isn't confined to any one geography. DeFi teams are onboarding users all over the world. Let's find out how they're doing it as Abel Tedros of Abel's Abstracts podcast leads. Abel, super excited to have you here.
And it is my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the introduction, mate.
Just take it away.
Awesome. Just waiting for everyone to jump in. Let's see if we get Mounir the chat.
I just cannot hear.
Can you hear me? Perfect. Awesome. So we're just waiting on Mounir right now. But as we are, can everyone hear me well? Just on the panel, just give me a nice thumbs up if you can all hear me. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, cool. All right. Cool. So I guess we'll just wait on a few people to come in, but I'll give you guys a little explanation on what we're going to discuss today. So as we mentioned in the introduction, we're going to talk all about DeFi. This is the first DeFi panel, so thank you guys for tuning in. I'm incredibly excited to talk about all the craziness that happens in the world of DeFi with my amazing panelists. So as we wait for those folks to get in, I guess we'll do just a round of intro for the folks who are already here right now. So we got David and we got Denzin. So maybe we go Denzin, then we go David. If you could introduce yourself to the panel, that'd be to the audience, that'd be great.
Sure, yeah. And I mean, you can pronounce my name Deniz as well. I'm awesome. From Kyber Network. I'm the head of ecosystem growth. I've been there for the last couple of years, but I've been involved in crypto since 2016, and I just fell in love with Ethereum, and I've always been in this space. And I can hear some static. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Yeah, so I mean, basically, I've been involved in DeFi and Ethereum for the last, since 2016, when it was just like a little seed and nothing, just abstract ideas. And here we are today, like 3-4 years later, with so much to talk about.
Yeah, okay. Not to worry, we'll get that sorted. But in the meanwhile, David, welcome to the panel. Would love to hear an introduction of yourself.
Okay, thank you, Abel. Yeah, I'm David Lei. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of the Fortune platform. And Fortune is a decentralized lending service. And so we are now focusing on the Asian market. And currently we are on the DeFi rank of the DeFi Pulse page, about at 18 to 19. So, and we are growing, and recently we just reached the $30 million locked value in our platform. And so we are open to the DeFi world and willing to collaborate with other projects such as the stablecoin and the payment and the aggregation service. So it's a very honor to join our panel today, and would like to hear from all the specialists here to learn from you. Thank you.
Fantastic, and it's a pleasure to have you also here as well. It's a pleasure for everyone to get a chance to speak to each other and chat a bit more about DeFi. So we're having some issues with Gene and Mounir's audio and stuff like that. So not to worry, we're going to continue. We're going to press forward, and hopefully we should have some sort of audio working great. Oh, you got Gene back in as well. If you
Hi.
can you can you hear us? Can you just do a quick thumbs up if you can hear us? Yeah.
Finally.
Okay, cool. Finally. Wonderful. So in that case, then maybe Gene, if you could give us an introduction to yourself, that would be fantastic.
Okay, hi guys, I am Jing. I'm from Mcdex. Mcdex is a decentralized derivative exchange. So to put it simple, what we are trying to build is a decentralized BMX. So right now what we have is the decentralized perpetual contracts right now. And by introducing both on-chain AMM and an off-chain order book, the hybrid model. And I'm glad to meet you guys here and glad to join.
Fantastic. And again, it is a pleasure to have you. So thank you so much for coming along to this panel. So we all had a chat yesterday. It was really, really interesting. And I guess we're going to replicate some of those discussions that we had yesterday and perhaps add some new flavor to this as well. So as we're waiting for a minute to get in, I'll just do a quick introduction myself, keep it very brief. Hello, everyone. My name's Abel. I'm the moderator of this panel. I'm a technical product manager by trade. I work on a bunch of different projects in the space. I have a newsletter and a podcast that I run called Abel's Abstracts, where I help product teams and investors have a better understanding of what's going on in the crazy world of DeFi. We help investors make better investment decisions, and we also help product teams build better products. So that's a bit about me. Incredibly excited to be here and host this panel. So yeah, let's jump into the goodness of this panel. So I want to start off with the first question. And this first question could seem basic to a lot of folks, but I think it's an important question to ask to get an understanding of of how folks perceive this. And this question is, what is DeFi and how do you define it? Because I know that many people in the space define DeFi in very different ways. And so I'm curious to hear on this panel how folks define it in their terms. So maybe you go Deniz, David, and then Jean. And then hopefully when Mounir comes back in, we can get him involved in the conversation.
Okay. I mean, it's a bit like such an abstract. It covers so much. What is DeFi, what is finance, and probably like the simplest thing is just anything that you can have in finance, like an exchange of value from one form to another, and being able to do that within a decentralized platform without all the classic intermediaries, with less of the friction, maybe with different kind of benefits. So it's a whole different paradigm shift where instead of doing it the way we've done it for the last 100 years, like with centralized ledgers and very clunky systems, well, now we have the internet. It made communication instant. Let's try and see what it can make for finance. So I see it as a very broad and growing space. And lastly, just the DeFi that we're seeing now is only maybe 2-3% of what we're going to see in the next even 5-10 years. It's a lot of hype, but it's still like the tip of the iceberg.
That is very true, and that is a topic we're going to discuss today, which I'm very excited for. I very much agree with that definition, and thank you so much for that. David, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, to me, the DeFi is currently we can understand that it is a decentralized finance service based on the blockchain system, such as Ethereum and maybe Polkadot and maybe Binance Chain. So all this service is permissionless to users, and so users can no longer use to need such as KYC or such as permission from any institutions and decentralized institutions. They just use their own blockchain wallet, and then they can enter the decentralized finance service infrastructures. And all these infrastructures are permissionless. So to me, the smart contract service and the decentralized and the permissionless is the core concept of the DeFi currently. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it's a very good way of putting it. Jean, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, because my daily work is basically to deal with a user, so I will talk from a user's perspective. So when I come up with meet someone who totally don't know what's DeFi, I will usually tell them that DeFi is actually to build another financial system based on blockchain. So imagine that in the traditional financial system, there are central bank, there are some commodities exchange, there are futures, and there are somewhere exchange that you can swap currencies. So that is how the decentralized world work. So you have something like the stable coin to act as the central bank. You have derivatives exchanges like Mcdex to act as the exchange that provide derivatives like perpetual contracts or other kinds of futures and options. So I think just to make the end user to understand that this is another financial world, but but in a non-custodial and transparent way. So some people will understand it like that.
Wonderful. So I think we all have consensus of how we define DeFi and what we think it will look like, what it looks like right now, and what it will look like in the future. And I want to get into the meat of, we had this idea that DeFi is this new financial ecosystem that is permissionless and is kind of doing to finance what the internet did to data and information, right? The proliferation, making it easy to access, etc., right? But my question here is, what are the main things in the ecosystem right now that are prohibiting us from getting there? Maybe I'll start this one off by talking a bit about some of the things that I'm constantly thinking about. And I'm thinking a lot about risk management. I think there's a lot to be said around the security of a lot of this stuff. And how I think about my breakdown is that I think about risk management. And then under that, I think security. And then under that, I think layer one security. So Ethereum, which is most of where DeFi is happening right now. What are the security concerns that we have around that in particular? I'm thinking smart contract risk and how to kind of think about how if there were a bug in a contract, what happens, and how do we mitigate those things through auditing and things like that. And if there is something to happen, then you have another subcategory, which is insurance. I think about Oracle risk. I think about composability with the onset of L2s and a bunch of different things, right? So what do you guys think is prohibiting us from getting us to a place where DeFi is a new financial system that is 10x, 100x better than the one we have right now? Anyone could go for this one.
I think first, Deniz.
It's interesting the way you framed it like that. Because when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking it's such a new system that we're still building the basic fundamental knowledge layer. We're still like for many systems, 0.1 out of so many different versions. So it's normal for there to be lots of unknown unknowns, we don't know what the risk parameters are. And I think you covered almost everything that is currently being built on, and we're eventually going to get there. And then apart from all those kind of risks, there's also the whole user experience that Jean touched on as well. That is a challenge and is for us, I wouldn't say holding it back because, as I said, we're still growing, but that's some challenge that we're really going to have to overcome. That's the user experience, and how do we deal with private keys? How do our parents deal with private keys? Those are still really unsolved questions, and will need to be solved before we see what we call mass adoption.
Go ahead, Jean. No, go ahead. I was going to say I totally agree, and I think you should definitely comment on that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I think as a financial system, the fundamental risk will be the security of the asset, because everyone is trying to make money here. They just wanted to. This is the thing that they care most. So in terms of that, I think DeFi is just like a baby that they're growing very, very fast. So when it's growing, it's inevitable there come with several risks, like the security and maybe the Oracle risk that you have mentioned. So, but I think, there have been some progress, but it will take some time. And meanwhile, that's why I think the market education is pretty important, that we need to address those risks for the newbies that they're here, and fundamentally speaking, it's their own choice. Like your investment here, the revenue is pretty high, then you will take the aligned risks when you are doing that investment.
Speaking of financial risk and security in particular, I don't know. I'm making the assumption that a lot of the audience here is quite, perhaps maybe into DeFi, maybe not into DeFi. But if you haven't heard of this thing called YAM, then let me tell you about this funny story. So there's this thing called YAM. And you have other ones like Based, Pasta, and all these different money games that are happening in the world of DeFi. Sushi, yes, thank you. Sushi is another one that's come of recent. And these are fascinating games that people are creating in the world of DeFi, and some are being launched, with unaudited smart contracts, which is a big no-no in the space. But this is what we're seeing. So very, very curious to hear your thoughts, everyone, on how we think about these money games, and maybe even a larger conversation around speculation and how if that's a good or bad thing for this space, and you know what you know, yeah, what are your thoughts generally on speculation and all these money games? Like, do you think it's good net, or do you think these things are more negative?
So to me, currently we put a lot of money into the unaudit smart contract and try to earn a very huge yield farming, and so people are taking their money at a very risk stage to this unaudit service. So just like you said, currently we need to people if you want to enter the DeFi space and to jump into the yield farming game, and you need first to understand what you are really integrated with. So first, people should make sure their the service they are using, is there any audit has finished, and then what really the for example the private key of the service or of the smart contract, is it still controlled in the team? And so if you put your money into the smart contract, is the team, is the holder of the smart contract can move your money to another place, and then you lose control of your assets. So people really need to think it over and then jump into the DeFi. So to me, there is already some very good data resource for users, such as the DeFi Pulse and the DeFi Prime, and many data services are telling people what kind of DeFi service is safe. So this is from the side of the users, and from the side of the developers. I hope those developers of something like YAM and the many other kind of smart contracts developer, you need to finish the audit first and then public your service. Don't try to earn interest, earn money so quick, because the DeFi market is very young. It is still in a very early stage, so we need to take care of it very well. Yes. Thanks.
And if I can just add, you know, it is risky, and we do criticize teams for not doing audits, but then audits cost money, right? We're talking about 10,000 like minimum. So, and I was always against the insanity that's going on with all this farming and people not putting up money into their unaudited contracts. But now I'm thinking, if someone went into the effort to convert fiat to Ethereum, and then from Ethereum went and started farming like potatoes or whatever it is, they fully understand the risk. So if things blow up now, it's fine, because you don't just end up in like this yield farming just by chance. You know, it's a very conscious decision. You know, so it's okay. You know, things will blow up, but that's the price we pay for innovation. And everyone here is like on the frontier of this crazy experiment. So, you know, we shouldn't feel too bad when things go wrong. It's just the price we pay for going like 100x innovation in 18 months, 12 months.
See, I love that you guys are debating this, because I'm incredibly conflicted, right? There's multiple elements to this conversation, in that on one hand, like I completely agree with David's earlier points around we shouldn't launch unaudited contracts. That is a big no-no. We should definitely try and get those things audited so that we can make sure that these contracts are robust and they're seen through the eyes of smart auditors, right? There's one element, right? You know, then Deniz, you mentioned, look, audits cost money. They cost a lot of money, in fact, and they take a long time to implement, right? And these young teams perhaps maybe can't afford to be able to spend this much money for you know, the ability to, like, imagine building a Web2 company, right? You don't, like, there's very little upfront costs there because of the amazing things that AWS have done. Because, you know, back in the day, you'd have to buy racks of servers. to even get in the game, right? Whereas now with AWS, they've abstracted that away. And I feel like, I don't know what that could look like in the world of DeFi and smart contract security, but I feel like there should be those kind of abstractions to allow builders, experimenters to be able to like launch stuff, because we want to experiment, we want to move fast, and these barriers are still there. And so I'm conflicted, and I guess to add another layer to this cake, I do honestly feel like although this stuff is permissionless, and I get it, we have permissionless innovation, I do feel like we should do a better job in the community of labeling what is a straight up gamble, straight up money game, and what is perhaps maybe a more reserved project, for example, Compound, where they're taking a very a measured approach about how they launch things, doing a bunch of simulations, smart contract security, et cetera, like going to the nth degree in terms of security and robustness, right? I feel like as a newbie, you should be able to discern very clearly what is a game, what is essentially a gamble, and what is perhaps maybe a bit more robust. But those are my thoughts. And we have Mounir in the game, and his audio sounds fantastic. So let's do. What's up, dude? Let's do a quick introduction of yourself, and we'd love to hear about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for your question. So I'm Mounir. I'm a founder of Paraswap, a liquidity aggregator on the Ethereum blockchain. We help traders and dApps and wallets to get access to DeFi markets and decentralized exchanges and lending protocols. And have a technical background. I've been working on Paraswap for over a year right now.
Awesome. It's fantastic to have you here, my friend, and so glad the audio is working good now.
Yeah.
Awesome. So look, I just want to pause for a second and just say how global this audience, this panel is, right? We have people calling in from all different parts of the world. We have folks in China, we have folks in France, we have folks in, I'm based in London. Cyprus, yes, we have like many folks all around the world, and this is just a real testament to this real kind of global innovation that is DeFi, right? The issue that I see with traditional finance is that it's very localized, and that some parts of the world have tremendous financial service and tremendous financial products, but if you perhaps maybe don't live in those areas, you don't get the same level of quality. And with DeFi, it really feels like a real opportunity to level the playing field and actually create this global financial system that anyone can tap into with the internet connection, and that to me is incredibly fascinating. So I just wanted to kind of point that out and say really bullish on this whole ecosystem. So I guess a question I do have is on oracles, because this is after all the Smart Contract Summit put on by Chainlink, and so I want to turn the conversation towards how you guys are using oracles within your systems, and how they play a role in your architectures and things like that. So anyone, feel free to jump on that and tell us a bit more about
that. Because we are using the service of Chainlink currently, so I can share some feelings of their service. Firstly, I need to say that Chainlink's Oracle price feed service is very steady and very high efficiency. So some people are wondering if the business model of Chainlink can work. But currently, I can give the answer yes. When we're using their Ethereum to US dollar, the price feed service, I found right now it's already 2 months past, and no error comes to our service. So firstly, I need to say that Chainlink it can be trusted right now. And I also know some news from their team that Chainlink is trying to introduce more price source, more data source into the decentralized world. For example, not only the price feed of the Bitcoin, and maybe in the future, the price feed of the stock, and maybe the real estate. So many other kind of assets that their information can be introduced by the Oracle into the blockchain. So I'm willing to see that happen. But based on that, I also hope that Chainlink team can keep the security at the very high level. So that is the most important thing of the Oracle and of the price feed and any other kind of service. Yes.
I couldn't agree more. Security is of the utmost importance when it comes to data feeds, price feeds, stuff like that. So yeah, I think it is a priority, and I think most folks, you know, should kind of keep that top of mind. Any other thoughts from anyone else on oracles and how you guys use them within your system and things like this?
For us, I can maybe take this one. So for us, Chainlink has been very useful for many use cases. The first one, on the most basic one, is displaying USD amounts, equivalent amounts of each pair, but also notifying the user whether they are making a bad trade. For instance, if you go to Uniswap today, or even to Kyber when it's using the AMM reserve, you may get hit by slippage when your order volume is very high. And for average users, they don't notice that very often. So using the USD as a basis calculation of the amounts helps a lot and allows for a lot of people not making mistakes, but also for our API users. So any wallet, for instance, Monolith or any other wallet that's integrating with our API can also use this feature. So it's a distribution on our UI and our API users as well.
Yeah, and for us, I'll just keep it very super brief. We just use it as a sanity check when converting ETH to KNC in the Kyber DAO. And there's a Kyber price, but we just double check with Chainlink to make sure it's sound. If it is, the transaction goes through. If it doesn't, the transaction gets reverted. So that's how we kind of incorporate and leverage what Chainlink has built into Kyber.
And in Mcdex, because we are building the perpetual contract, so there is a very key feature called mark price that can decide the funding rate in the perpetual contracts and the liquidation price of the perpetual contract. So, and the mark price is kind of calculated from the index price, which is come from the Chainlink. So you know, the whole system basically depends on it. So I will put it simple. That is how the Oracle is important for us, like in the perpetual contracts.
Clearly very critical for a lot of the systems that we're discussing right now. So I realize we have a short amount of time, and I want to speak about I guess what you guys are excited about or interested for the future in terms of what's getting you up in the morning and thinking, okay, I'm really excited about this in the world of DeFi. So what are the latest developments in the world of DeFi that you guys, it could be within your own projects yourself or in the larger ecosystem, what are you really excited about? I can start. L2s for me are like mission critical. I'm both like excited about it, but also quite worried because I realized that composability is the magic behind DeFi and why it's so cool. But I realized if we don't figure out a way to get composability between L2s, then we could lose some of that magic, right? If everyone goes to different layer 2s, you know, we could lose some of that magic, right? And so I'm both very excited, but also slightly concerned about this. And obviously ETH2, I mean, who isn't excited about ETH2? Because that's going to be a paradigm shift in the way that, you know, we use this platform. So yeah, those are the things that I'm excited about. So yeah, anyone can jump on this and let us know what you're excited about.
Do you want to take?
Okay, but I was going to talk about layer 2 as well. It's a very hot subject. And also being an aggregator, by definition, we consume much more gas than decentralized exchanges because there is smart contract overhead, and also combining multiple smart contract, you get the gas of everyone, and that's users will pay this price. So it concentrates the usage on big users or big amounts, which is not the goal of DeFi at the end. It's making finance accessible to everyone. So I think layer 2 is the name of the game right now. But obviously those problems are real. So realistically speaking, I don't think that everyone will be on the same L2 solution. It's hard to imagine everyone will have this consensus. So I would imagine new bridges is going to be created to solve this problem. It's going to take some time, but yes, happy to it will be cool to watch.
Yeah, and I'm excited for that. So I guess I'm getting told that we're running up of time, but just very quickly, Jean and David, what are you two excited about before we wrap up?
Oh, Jean first.
Yeah, besides L2, I think that is currently the most important thing. I think the DeFi Lego stuff is something that always surprised me and make me and also make the smart contracts projects like us can move on, because I think that's a true power where the DeFi can release its power to the more wider user base.
Okay, yeah, and about the DeFi, I think it has unlimited possibility to bring everything in the world into the DeFi space. So we can use the infrastructure such as NFT and many other kind of technical tools to do that. I think that is amazing to all the designers in the world. Yes. So in the future, maybe in 1 or 2 years, we can see that DeFi will change very much and to have big influence to everybody in the world. I'm waiting to see that.
Well, that is an incredible note to finish this panel on. It's been my absolute pleasure to have each and every one of you on this panel. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. It was nice to kind of kick back and just talk about DeFi and some of our thoughts on the space. You know, we covered a lot of different topics from the vision and the goal of DeFi and where we're trying to get to, and some of the issues that we have and how we're trying to mitigate those. And I guess we wrapped up with a very nice comment on what we're very excited about for the future and what this could potentially look like. Again, thank you all for coming, and thank you all for the folks who are listening and watching this this live stream. It's been an absolute blast, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.